The Cuban Missile Crisis was one of the most suspenseful occurrences that the United States has ever experienced. The first step in the crisis was confronting communism in Cuba. The ruler of Cuba, Fulgencio Batista, was overthrown by Fidel Castro. The United States wanted to make good relations with Cuba. However, Fidel made it clear that he wanted to nationalize land held by private U.S. citizens and enforce radical reform. Meanwhile, Castro was accepting military and economic aids from the Soviets. Thousands of wealthy anti-communist Cubans fled to Miami and southern Florida.
Day 1, October 16th.
How's the First Lady?
You mean Marilyn Monroe?
Mr. President, I have urgent information.
We better go to my office. Get the principal foreign policy and national defense officials here immediately.
Okay, sir.
Mr. President? You call us in?
Check out these pictures the CIA found.
I informed Mr. President of the U2 findings.
We need to take immediate action. What do you think the national defense should do?
I suggest an airstrike invasion.
I think the naval quarantine is the best option.
Guys, we gotta think this through. We can't just take action without actually knowing all the facts.
Okay. Should I go get more information?
Absolutely.
Day 2, October 17th. Military bases begin moving to the southeast part of the United States. They come across new findings such as more U-2 flights and another 16 to 32 missiles. Day 3, October 18th.
Mr. President, Andrew Gromyko's here to see you.
Thank you. Gromyko,
Mr. Kennedy,
nice to see you.
Mr. President, I am here to tell you that our aid to Cuba is merely defensive.
I'm warning you, Gromyko. It better be defensive only.
Yes, it is.
Nice to see you.
As well.
Come with me, sir.
Chuck Liverios.
Day 4, October 19th. Kennedy goes on a campaign trip in Ohio and Illinois. In Washington, his advisors continued talking over what actions would be appropriate. Day 5, October 20th.
Welcome back, Mr. President.
Thank you very much.
How's the campaign trip?
The weather was horrible.
Have you made a final decision?
I have. I don't really want to go through with this, but I think we're going to have to do the naval quarantine.
Day 6, October 21st.
General Walter Sweeney alerts President Kennedy that the airstrike could possibly not guarantee a full destruction of the missiles.
Day 7, October 22nd.
Vice President, I need you to call Hoover, Eisenhower, Truman, Prime Minister of Britain, and the cabinet members to inform them about the Cuban Missile Crisis immediately.
I have not assumed that you or any other sane man would in this nuclear age deliberately plunge the world into war which is crystal clear no country could win and which could only result in catastrophic consequences to the whole world, including the aggressor.
To the citizens of the United States of America, as unfortunate as I'd like to say, the CIA has discovered U-2 findings of Soviet missiles in Cuba. I've asked for the removal of the missiles, but there is no guarantee. We have established naval quarantine around Cuba until they release the missiles. Please take all safety precautions in case of the start of a nuclear war. Thank you and God bless.
Hello, sir. Do you have a few minutes to answer a few questions?
Yes, I do.
What is your current occupation?
I work in a factory.
Have you heard anything about the Cuban Missile Crisis?
Well, yes, I have. It's a tragedy. I heard it on the 6 o'clock news.
What do you know about the Cuban Missile Crisis?
Well, I think it's horrible that Khrushchev is going to bring missiles into Cuba and set them up and point them at us.
Okay, what do you think Kennedy should do? Do you think the naval quarantine is a good action for him to take?
Well, that's a start. We got to keep those missiles out of Cuba, but beyond that, we got to get those ships turned around and I think we should nuke them.
Do you have any further opinions about the Cuban Missile Crisis?
I will say this, I'm proud to be an American, and I stand behind our president, Mr. Kennedy, and we need to take care of business.
What kind of actions are you doing to protect yourself just in case the missiles...
Oh my goodness, I can't say, but I have plans for an underground bunker, a bomb shelter.
Okay, sir. Thank you for your time. Stay safe and have a good evening.
I thank you very much.
Hey, you know what I learned in school today? I learned a missile drill.
What do you do?
Like we duck under our table
And why do you do that?
because just in case there's a bomb that will kill us. Then I remember that day in the backyard and we saw a blue helicopter.
So, Mr. Jackson, can you tell me about the Cuban Missile Crisis?
Yes, I was a little boy at the time, and Russia was sending missiles to Cuba to target America. So President Kennedy sent a blockade out there to stop them. And I used to live in Alabama, and every time the sirens would go off, we'd all run to the outhouse and hide under the seat.
Day 8, October 23rd.
The U.S. Naval Fleet is moving to Cuba, but the Soviet submarines are causing a threat!
Day 9, October 24th.
Kennedy, you are accusing me of not appealing to reason but trying to intimidate us Russians.
Day 10, October 25th.
Kennedy knows the missiles in Cuba were now operational. He wrote a letter to Khrushchev urging him to change his plans. Public opinion was flowing between Soviet Union and the United States about whether or not to launch the missiles.
Day 11, October 26th.
Khrushchev, start a nuclear first attack on America.
Right away, Fidel. Kennedy. The Soviet Union will remove missiles if the U.S. lifts the quarantine and pledges to not invade Cuba.
Day 12, October 27th.
Cuba just locked down our plane! What?
We were only there to investigate!
We had no intentions of war!
Day 13th, October 28th.
Radio Moscow announces that the Soviet Union has accepted the proposed solution and releases the text of a Khrushchev letter affirming that the missiles will be removed in exchange for a non-invasion pledge from the United States. The 13 days marking the most dangerous period of the Cuban Missile Crisis has ended.